BC ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਰਹਿ ਚੁੱਕੇ MLA ਜੌਨ ਰਸਟਡ ਹੋਣੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ MLA ਵਜੋਂ ਵਿਧਾਨ ਸਭਾ 'ਚ ਬੈਠਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵਿਕਟੋਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਹੁਣ BC ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰ ਗਏ ਨੇ। ਔਰ BC ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਕੋਈ ਨਵੀਂ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਦੋ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਆਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਸੰਖੇਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਹੈ। ਔਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਇਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਘੱਟ ਗੱਲ ਸੁਣਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੁਣ ਦਬਦਬਾ ਜਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਹੁਣ ਚਰਚਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ 1975 ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੋਈ MLA ਜਿੱਤਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। 1900 ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਤੇ 1926-28 ਦੇ ਕਰੀਬ ਦੋ ਕੁ ਵਾਰਾਂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਬਣੀ ਹੈ, ਲੇਕਿਨ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ 1956 ਦਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਹ ਮਾੜਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਡਿਕਲਾਈਨ ਫੇਜ਼ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜੌਨ ਰਸਟਡ ਹੋਣ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਕਦਮ ਕਿਉਂ ਚੁੱਕਿਆ, ਇਹਦਾ ਕੀ ਲਾਭ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਔਰ ਕੀ ਇਰਾਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ। BC ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ 'ਚੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲਾਂਭੇ ਕਿਉਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ। ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਈਂਡ 'ਚ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਮਿਸਟਰ ਰਸਟਡ, ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜੀ, ਵੈਲਕਮ ਟੂ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ।
Hi, how are you doing today?
Very good. So first of all, the breaking news today that you have joined BC Conservative Party. There must be some good reason. Kindly, let's start from here.
Well, the BC Liberal Party kicked me out of their caucus last August because there was a difference of opinion between myself and the leader. I feel it's very important that an MLA has the right to be able to stand up and support its riding and support the issues in its riding. And unfortunately, Kevin Falcon and the BC Liberals seem to believe that it's more important for MLAs to parrot their party's position. And so there's a fundamental disagreement between us. And so that may be an independent MLA. When I started looking around at the future and I think about what British Columbia needs and the struggles and challenges we have, we need strong, independent voices to be able to stand up and represent ridings, to be able to fight for the issues in British Columbia. And I believe that through the Conservative Party of British Columbia, that gives the best opportunity to do that.
So what I'm getting from you is, sir, that if you didn't have any differences with Kevin Falcon, you still would have sat as a BC Liberal Party MLA?
The BC Liberals removed me from their caucus. I didn't leave the BC.
No. What if they didn't have if you didn't have any differences with Mr. Kevin Falcon, then you still would have been attached to the party?
I didn't have any plans to leave the party, so they, like I say, they made the decision to remove me, and that's fine. That's certainly their right to do that.
So what are those issues that you're talking about that you're riding and the residents of BC, what are those issues you're passionate about that now you think will be way more possible for you to pursue those?
Well, for example, in today in question period, I raised the issue that there are literally thousands of healthcare workers that want to work in this province, but because of the mandates that have been brought in by this government, they're not allowed to. Every other province and country in this country have dropped those mandates and hired back those professionals. And so today I argued in the legislature that our healthcare heroes should be rehired. The difference that one doctor can make to a community is phenomenal, and yet these people are not allowed to work in British Columbia. And that is an issue that I would not have been able to raise as a BC Liberal.
And how about the difference that we are talking about with Mr. Kevin Falcon about, it's being said that you probably your views were very unscientific and you didn't believe that carbon dioxide can contribute to the climate change?
The issue that we had the division over was there's a push in this country to remove the use of nitrogen-based fertilizer and to reduce cattle herds. In my perspective, that would have been devastating for my riding, so I wanted to speak out about that. But more importantly, what that will do is that it'll actually increase the cost of food, it'll decrease food availability, and it'll contribute towards starvation in the world. And I do not want to stand up and be responsible for policies that will actually contribute to people starving in the world in this world. We're global citizens. We should be doing what we can to contribute and support people, not try to prevent people from having the basic access to food.
Mr. Rustad, I want to know your views on vaccination, about the way federal governments and provincial governments handled COVID-19 and Freedom Convoy, the philosophy behind it and everything. If you can walk me through, what do you think about those issues?
When COVID-19 hit, nobody knew just how bad this whole issue would be. And so, governments took various measures that were intended on trying to protect people. But as the pandemic unfolded, it became clear that some of these measures were an overreach. Some of these measures, quite frankly, really hurt small business owners and caused a lot of damage to our economy, but more importantly, to families. When I look at the Freedom Convoy, I think that the Trudeau government really overstepped their authority in terms of the Emergencies Act. I think that was on a far overreach when you think about, a government freezing citizens' bank accounts because they didn't like what they were supporting. That to me was just outrageous. And so, I actually think that the people that stood up and fought for that, although I may not have agreed with everything that happened, I think that was appropriate and needed to be done. And in many ways, that helped to remove some of the restrictions and helped to improve the quality of life for many people around this country.
Why do you think that nowadays people don't talk about BC Conservative Party, whereas, federal level, yes, they have a presence, you can feel it, but provincially in BC, I think after 1975, party didn't have any MLA. You did them a favor, basically, by joining it. Will it benefit you monetarily? Will it benefit you some benefits in the Victoria for the research purpose or something by joining this party?
No, there's no actual benefits in terms of becoming a member of the party from a perspective of Victoria. But the Conservative Party of BC has changed dramatically from what it was. And quite frankly, what I see in this province is two political parties, both the BC Liberals and the NDP, that are focused on working in the dark. They don't want people to know. They like to be in the shadows, and they like to be able to put spin out there. And quite frankly, it's time we form a new coalition party in this province, a coalition that's going to stand up for people, that's going to stand up for affordability for people, and not put ideology or politics ahead of what's needed to be able to improve the lives of people in British Columbia.
And I need your opinion, your comment on the name change. That's being said that BC Liberals are in a process of name change of the party, and they may or may not. But will it benefit BC Conservatives if they change the name?
The BC Liberals are going to do whatever it is they want to do, and that's going to be fine. We can talk about that down the road. What I'm more focused on right now, obviously as an MLA, I'm focused on supporting my riding and doing all the work I can from riding. But as a member now of the Conservative Party of British Columbia, I want to reach out to everybody across this province and talk about how we build that new coalition party and how that coalition party reflects the values that are important to British Columbians, and particularly the core values. Things like, being able to afford to fill up your tank, being able to afford to put food on your table, making sure that you have quality health care, stopping this rampant crime that we have on the streets. All of these issues are issues that I'm going to be out talking to people around the province and trying to build that new coalition party. And what the Liberals do or the NDP is going to be fine. They're going to do whatever they're going to do. And what's important to me is that we have a party that respects people and that builds that base that's needed.
And lastly, what are the things that you don't like in the present government? Because Mr. Horgan was very popular and David Eby, people are saying that he's doing really good. But now you being the sole MLA of the party, what are the things that you want to highlight?
The NDP government's doing what they can. But I actually think people in this province need to see a choice. And so when you look at how they're handling crime on the street, when you look at how they're handling the healthcare by not hiring back our healthcare heroes and creating the shortage of doctors and nurses and closures of emergency rooms, when you look at, for example, our forest sector, which is in a crisis, and they're ignoring it, and they're just actually creating more problems. And when you look at the potential we have as a province, really to be able to create strength, to be able to pay for things like expanding what we can do with agriculture, expanding, what we can do with our fuels, and making sure that we are prepared for the climate changes that are in front of us. I just think, they fail because they're driven by ideology. They're not driven by the results that are needed for people.
Do you think there's a lot of difference between the, issues that urban voters are passionate about and people who are residing in rural areas?
Of course there's differences. There's differences between one community in the Lower Mainland versus another community. The key in my mind is not to focus on those differences. We need to have a government that's going to stand up and fight for people in this province to make sure that they can, put food on the table, that they can provide a good, positive future for their children and for themselves, and that, respects those values that created the quality of life and the beautiful province that we have here today. That's what's missing, and I'd like to see that come back in British Columbia.
Anything in the closing that I didn't ask, but you want to conclude with, Mr. Rustad? People are listening to you.
No, I appreciate you having the opportunity to have a talk here today. And for more, I think people can check us out at conservativebc.ca. And I really look forward to going out and engaging with people around this province and earning their trust, earning their support, and building a party that I think people can be proud of to be able to fight for British Columbians.
Anytime, you're most welcome. If you ever happen to be in the Richmond area, we are on Westminster Highway. You'll be, we'll be sitting in the studio as well.
Perfect. I would love to be able to come there, and I look forward to that opportunity in the future.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Take care.
ਜੌਨ ਰਸਟਡ ਹੋਣੀ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ MLA ਵਜੋਂ ਵਿਧਾਨ ਸਭਾ 'ਚ ਬਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਵਿਕਟੋਰੀਆ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਹੀ BC ਕੰਸਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨੂੰ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕਰਨ ਦਾ ਐਲਾਨ ਕੀਤਾ। ਅਤੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂਆਤੀ ਦੌਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੈਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਸਵਾਲ ਕੀਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ BC ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ 'ਚੋਂ ਕੱਢ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ ਅਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਆਜ਼ਾਦ ਬੈਠਾ ਸਾਂ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਜੁਆਇਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਵਾਲ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਜੇਕਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕੱਢਦੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ BC ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਜੁੜੇ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ BC ਕੰਸਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜ ਜਾਣਾ ਸੀ? ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ BC ਲਿਬਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦਾ MLA ਹੀ ਬਣਿਆ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਸੀ। ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਤਭੇਦ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੱਢਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਉਹ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਕਾਰਬਨ ਡਾਈਆਕਸਾਈਡ, ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਵਾਤਾਵਰਨ ਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਗਾੜਦੀ, ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਸਹਿਮਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਨ। ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੁਹਰਾਇਆ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਵਾਰਾਂ। ਤਾਂ ਨਵੇਂ ਬਣੇ ਨੇਤਾ ਕੈਵਨ ਫਾਲਕਨ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਾਹਰ ਦਾ ਰਸਤਾ ਵਿਖਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ। ਅਤੇ BC ਕੰਸਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਵੱਖਰੀ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਹੈ ਫੈਡਰਲ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਨਾਲੋਂ, ਪਰੰਤੂ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ 100 20 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦਾ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਹੈ ਔਰ 2-3 ਵਾਰ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰਾਂ ਬਣੀਆਂ ਨੇ। 1975 ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ MLA ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣਿਆ। ਬਹੁਤ ਪੂਅਰ ਪਰਫੋਰਮੈਂਸ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਵਧੇਰੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਈਡੀਆਲੋਜੀ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕੰਸਰਵੇਟਿਵਜ਼ਮ, ਇਕਨੋਮਿਕ ਲਿਬਰਲਿਜ਼ਮ, ਰਾਈਟ ਵਿੰਗ ਪੋਪੂਲਿਜ਼ਮ ਅਤੇ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਪਾਲਿਸੀਜ਼ ਉਹ ਆਧਾਰਿਤ ਨੇ।